Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Let's go over the 11-game NBA slate for today on Draftkings. Lots of good games on this slate and lots of good plays, so I am looking forward to it. But before we continue, I am going to run a contest on today's video. So, in the comments below, I want to know how many fantasy points, Draftkings points I should say, you think Karl Anthony Towns scores on tonight's slate. And the winner of this contest, whoever gets this closest amount, or if you get right on the number, will get access to my NASCAR spreadsheet for the duration of this month. We have 3 races coming this weekend, so if you'd like access to my NASCAR spreadsheet, in the comments below, let me know how many points you think Karl Anthony Towns scores. And there's some rules though. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you're not going to win, even if you get it right. You got to be subscribed, and yes, I can look on your channel and check who is subscribed to me and who is not. You also got to leave a like, and you got to be following me on Twitter, because I'm going to DM the winner on Twitter afterwards. And if you don't have a Twitter, I guess I'll be a little bit lenient, but if you gotta be following me on Twitter, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and whoever is closest, whoever gets the score right, you can get access to my NASCAR spreadsheet. Alright, so without further ado, remember just to leave a like on the video, and if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Really helps me out, really appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter at Pennell16. If you want to support me over on Patreon, you can get access to my entire NBA spreadsheet, projections, cheat sheet, core plays, my DVP chart, my Discord chat, where you can ask me all the questions you want. And if you want access to the NASCAR package, my articles on there. I already have 2 articles posted for Thursday's races. I got 2 races on Thursday. Got my spreadsheet updated for that. I'm going to have my projections up about later tonight, maybe in the afternoon, evening. Either way, it just depends on if I can get to it quick enough. And then I'm going to have the Daytona 500, which is the biggest race of the year and my most favorite race. So lots of races had this weekend. So if you do want to sign up for the NASCAR package, check it out. I'm pretty proud of all the work I do on there, so I think you guys will like it. But that's going to be it for the shameless plugs. Let's get into this video. So up top, the man of the hour, Karl Anthony Towns. He comes in at 10,500. Going up against Charlotte, I think he can absolutely smash in this matchup. Now, D'Angelo Russell being on the T-Wolves, will it hurt him a little bit? Of course. I mean, you know, D'Lo's the kind of guy who's going to take a lot of shots. He's going to have a high usage rate. But, you know, Karl Anthony Towns, he should be able to smash Charlotte. I mean, we saw it way earlier in the season. Was it the first game of the season? It was the first or second game of the season. He had like over 80 fantasy points versus these guys. Obviously, a lot of things have changed since then. But, I mean, Cat should be able to smash this team down low. They're one of the worst teams in the league versus centers. They were 30th for a little bit. They're back down to 29th. But, I mean, they're just so bad down low. 26th versus power forwards, 29th versus centers. They did trade a lot of guys away, so I think Cat should be able to smash here. He's my favorite spend up as of right now. Well, I guess he's right up there with Trae Young. I think they're both the best. I mean, you can even make a case for Damian Lillard, but I really like Cat here. And on the season, 1.5 points per minute, 28.9% usage rate. There's a lot to like here for Cat, and they also play really fast. Now, Charlotte is a big pace down spot, which I don't like, but Minnesota's at home. They should look to push the pace here. 117.25 implied team total. I think Cat's going to have a pretty good game down low. They really don't have anyone at all that can contend with him. One step below him is Trae Young. He comes in at 10,400, and these guys are, I view them as very similar plays. Now, they're not the same position, but each player is going up against a slower paced team, but the matchup is just so good, and they both have 117 implied team totals. So this is a very similar matchup for each guy here. And as you can see in the pace column, both green for their own team, then red for the other team, and they're both similar in the point per minute department, but Trae Young has a higher usage rate, and he typically plays more minutes. So I could see a case of wanting to play Trae Young over Cat, but I just think they're both excellent plays. If you ever check the DVP chart, Cleveland, they rank 30th versus point guards, 30th versus shooting guards, so it's literally the best matchup you can ask for as a guard, and I don't know if there's a total out yet. Was there a total? Yeah, only a 2-point spread in Atlanta's favor, so I really think that it's going to be a tight spread. The addition of Andre Drummond should be able to help the Cavs keep this game a little bit closer, even if Kevin Love happens to miss this game, because he is listed as questionable as of right now, which reminds me I should probably add Larry Nance in the player pool. So let me do that really quick. Okay, so I added him to the player pool. We'll talk about it in a little bit. But yeah, Trae Young, I think he can absolutely smash here. We know the guy's got 80-point upside. We've seen him not multiple times this season, but we did see it that one game versus Houston, and he's just had tremendous games. We know his upside. He's going to shoot the ball a ton. He's got a 35.1% usage rate, 1.44 points per minute, averaging over 35 minutes per game. I think Trae Young is an excellent play on this slate. Love the matchup versus Cleveland. So you can certainly look his way. Damian Lillard, 10,200. So he burned you guys if you played him versus New Orleans. I really thought he was going to have a really good game. Ended up not happening. And Man, that game sucked for me because, well, it was looking like it was going to be great because I had Hassan Whiteside, CJ McCollum, Zion, Derek Favors, and I want to say it's someone else. I can't remember. I don't know if I said Whiteside already, but I had a large majority of my lineup in this game, and it was looking amazing. Like, everyone was going off. Whiteside was going off. Everyone's going off. And then at like 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they were down over 20. They pulled all their starters. I mean, that seemed a little bit premature to pull your starters. I mean, you never know what could happen. But they pulled them early, and they never came back in. So that really, really sucked because I literally finished on all the edges for tonight for cashing. Like, I maybe made one double up into the money, but everything else was like I was the first person out of the money. It was very frustrating to see those guys get pulled that early. Just if I could have got a whole quarter out of there, it would have been really nice. But unfortunately, did not happen. But I think Damian Lillard can bounce back here. I could see him being a little bit lower owned just because of what he did. Now, he was pretty low owned last night. I believe he was 16% owned in my GPP, which, to be honest, I was very surprised about. Joel Embiid ended up getting a lot more ownership, and can't remember the other guy off the top of my head, but I don't remember. Might have been Westbrook, but yeah, I think Damian Lillard can bounce back, though. He's going to play all the minutes he can handle. It's a really good matchup versus Memphis. Two faster-paced teams here. Portland is 12th in pace of play, while Memphis is 8th, and we know they're one of the worst defensive teams in the league. I believe they're right below Portland, yeah. So, Portland, Memphis, two of the worst defensive teams in the league, so this should be a pretty high-scoring game. Memphis ranks 16th versus point guard, so I like the spot here for Damian Lillard, and on the season, he's at 1.36 points per minute with a 30% usage rate. I certainly think you could look his way. He's going to play close to 40 minutes. So Lillard, like the matchup versus Memphis, you could make a game stack out of that game. Andre Drummond on his new team, Cleveland. I think he played about 27, 28 minutes in the last game, but they got absolutely blown out the water. So he should play about mid-30s minutes, about 33, 35 minutes here. And it's a great spot versus Atlanta. Clint Capella is not expected to be back yet, so it could be a pretty soft matchup down low. We know Atlanta is the worst defensive team in the entire league. They rank dead last versus just overall, and then versus centers they rank 26. So Andre Drummond should have a pretty good game here. I like the pace-up matchup versus Atlanta. And on the season, he's at 1.41 points per minute, the 25% usage rate. Obviously, don't have a big enough sample size to use his numbers for Cleveland yet, but Kevin Love is questionable for this game. So if you take Kevin Love off the court, Andre Drummond, I mean, that's just going to further solidify his minutes and just his role on this offense. So I think Andre Drummond is going to be a smash play either way. But if you take Love off, I think Drummond could absolutely eat, and I could see a case being made for him being the top spend above the slate because he also doesn't break the bank. Now, I mean, you could also go with a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns and Andre Drummond, just double load up on centers if you think both are going to have tremendous games. So I'm not really sure how the value is going to shape up. I got a couple of value guys as of right now, but if you can afford that later in the day, I think that's totally a pretty good way to go. But yeah, like Andre Drummond, over 1.4 points around the season. Chris Middleton. So this is a little bit interesting. I probably should have put Ersan Ilyasova, which I guess I probably could do right now. So we could talk about Chris Middleton as of right now. So on the season, he's at about, oh, I did not spell that right. Ersan Ilyasova. There we go. So yeah, on the season, Chris Middleton's at about 1.24 points per minute, which is obviously excellent. And if you take Giannis off the court, which Giannis is going to miss this game, I believe it was I forget if it was a girl or a boy, but he ended up having his kid, so he's going to be missing this game. So you can obviously bump up all the bucks. But the problem is, Draftkings priced all these guys to the moon. Like Chris Middleton's 8,800. But the thing is, if you take Giannis off the court, his numbers back up his price tag. He's at about 1.47 points per minute with a 30% usage rate. Those are elite numbers. That would be second best out of all these guys on the player pool. That's better than Trae Young, and that's better than Andre Drummond. That's better than Damian Lillard. The numbers are absolutely insane when you take Giannis off the court for guys like Middleton and Eric Bledsoe. So, I mean, he's near 9K, so that sucks, but he's pretty much gets you about 50 fantasy points, if not more, every single time Giannis misses. This is not a good matchup versus Indiana, I will say. But, I mean, if you take a guy like Giannis off the court, you got to have interest. But, like I said, not a great matchup. They actually do rank first versus small forwards and 8th versus shooting guards. So this is not a good matchup in the slightest. But the numbers are just so strong when you take Giannis off. I could totally see going his way. And if you think he's going to be low owned, I could certainly see taking a stab at that just to get lower ownership on a guy like Chris Middleton. Julius Randle, he went absolutely off in the last game. I forget, I think it was against Atlanta. I believe the game went into overtime, but he still had a really good game. Should play mid-30s minutes here, and it gets an elite matchup here versus Washington, one of the worst defensive teams in the entire league. Also a nice pace-up spot for the Knicks, as they are 19th in pace of play. And sorry, I had to pause the video. I'm still dealing with a lot of coughing. I don't want to cough all over you guys on the video. But we were talking about Julius Randle. I think he has a pretty strong play here versus Washington. If we head over to the DVP chart, now, Washington, they do rank 24th versus power forwards, 28th versus centers. So Julius Randle should be able to do whatever the heck he wants. He does feel a little bit expensive here, 8,600, but he's definitely shown the upside. And it's only a 2.5-point spread. Should be a pretty close game. Like I said, pace-up spot as well for the Knicks. On the year, 1.14 points per minute, which is not too great. Which, I mean, if you look at the guys around him in the same price range, his point per minute rate's a lot lower than the other guys. So that's more of a GPP play, but you can certainly look his way at about 27.6% usage rate. I think he's fine. Hassan Whiteside, he's just the guy I like to play every single night. Now, if you're going to look at the game log, yes, I know he only got 41 points last night, but he didn't really play in the fourth quarter. He played like two and a half minutes in the fourth quarter. If he plays the full game, he's probably getting close to 60 fantasy points, if not 60 fantasy points. He was well on his way to absolutely smashing. And going up against Memphis, he should be able to eat here. We have a 235 total, which should be the highest on this slate. I don't think anything else is going to beat that. Golden State versus Phoenix, I really can't see that getting as close. And then we have the Atlanta-Cleveland game at 233, but I think that's probably going to be the closest it gets to touching that game. So definitely want a lot of exposure to it. And Hassan Whiteside, he's just the guy I like playing every single night. I probably recommend Hassan Whiteside more than just about anybody. I mean, I feel like he's always on my player pool no matter the price tag, just because he's so good. I mean, for fantasy purposes, he's averaging 1.33 points per minute. I don't understand why he should honestly be a 9K player. He's just... He really should. 8,400. I know it's a little expensive, but I still think it's fine. And it's a really good matchup versus Memphis. They rank 23rd versus center, so he should be able to do whatever the heck he wants here. Always has 20-20 upside. I honestly got out a 20-20 game last night. Unfortunately, he got pulled early. I don't remember the minutes he actually ended up with, but I have to imagine he finished pretty strong on a point per minute basis. I don't think he touched 30 minutes. Maybe he did, but I don't think so. But yeah, it's on Whiteside. He should be able to smash. Devin Booker, he really struggled in the last game versus the Lakers. I liked him as a GPP play. Ended up not working out too well. But I think he can bounce back here versus Golden State. They have really no defensive resistance when it comes to guards. They're ranked 25th versus shooting guards, 20th for small forwards, 26th versus point guards. One of the worst defenses all around, right below Washington, as they are fourth worst in the league. And on the season, 1.17 points per minute, 29.5% usage rate. I never really recommend to play Devin Booker in cash games. Always a GPP play for me because his points per minute rate's pretty low and he's usually pretty expensive. Now, I will put him in cash game consideration when he's in that 7K range, but when you're in the 8K range for Devin Booker, he's only always GPP for me unless it's a small slate or it's an elite game environment. So, he's fine. He's got a 30% usage rate, but only a GPP play for me. Only Kyle Lowry comes in at 7,900. He absolutely went off in the last game. And the funny thing was, I actually ended up playing him. I didn't really want to, but I did. And it ended up working out for playing Kyle Lowry. Maybe the rest of the lineup didn't work out too well, but Kyle Lowry certainly did well. And I don't think he's going to follow that game up with a similar performance. But it's a good matchup here versus Brooklyn. And also helped that Serge Ibaka was off the court. I mean, you're taking a guy with a 25% usage rate off the court. That's obviously going to help you a little bit. But Brooklyn, they really struggle versus point guards. 25th versus the position. Also a bit of a pace-up spot here for for the Raptors. 11th in pace of play. And Brooklyn is 6th. Always like getting guys in pace-up spots. On the season, 1.1 points per minute. But he's getting about 37 minutes per game. He's got a 23% usage rate. He's fine. Not going to go out of my way to play him. But if you only have 7,900 left and it's like your last piece, I think you could do worse with Kyle Lowry. Eric Bledsoe, another guy that's going to benefit from Giannis missing this game. If you take Giannis off the court, Bledsoe is just an absolute god. Over 1.5 points per minute. Over 1.5 points per minute. Look at the player pool here. That's better than Karl Anthony Towns. Like on point per minute wise, he's better than Karl Anthony Towns. And I have him projected for the same amount of minutes. So, I know it feels weird almost paying almost 8K for Eric Bledsoe, but the numbers suggest you should. And like I said, sometimes if you don't like the name at the price tag, sometimes you just got to cover it up, look at the numbers, and say, hey, this is not that bad for 7,700. So, just pretend here that Eric Bledsoe, 7,700, and it says 1.5 points per minute. You would be licking your chops to play the guy. So, I think he's in play for sure. again, I understand it's a little uncomfortable playing that much for Eric Bledsoe, but when you take Giannis off the court, the numbers are too good. He's got about 36% usage rate, over 1.5 points per minute. You got to love it. Now, the only thing that would deter me is the matchup here. Pace down spot for sure. Milwaukee is first in pace of play, and Indiana is 24, so I don't like pace down spots at all. It's also a bad matchup. Indy is 8th versus point guards, 8th versus shooting guards, but the Bucks are just such a good team. I can see them overcoming it. I don't believe there's a total out in this game yet. There's not. But only 1.5 point spread, so the game should stay close. So Eric Bledsoe certainly on my radar. De'Aaron Fox, 7,700. He had a really good game last time out, 46 fantasy points, and they dropped his price out of that 8K range, which I do like. I don't really love playing 8K for De'Aaron Fox, but 7,700 I can do. Not the greatest matchup in the world versus Dallas. As you can see, they rank 13th versus point guards, which isn't too bad, but they're a pretty solid defensive team overall. Also getting Luka back, but I think he's going to be fine, 7,700. There's no total out for this game, but they are 7-point dogs. Let's see. Don't want to lose my spot. But on the season, he's been pretty good given his price tag. 1.22 points per minute, 29.6% usage rate. He's a fine play. I think he's one of the more solid mid-range plays on this slate. I guess the tough question would be Eric Bledsoe and De'Aaron Fox. As of right now, I would not give you a slight lean. I will not give a slight lean to either. I had to break it down a little bit more because this is just the first initial reaction video, but I think they're both pretty solid plays. Andrew Wiggins, I have him down here just because it's a pretty good matchup here versus Phoenix. They're one of the worst defensive teams in the league. They're ranked 19th versus point guards, 23rd versus shooting guards. So this is a pretty good matchup for Andrew Wiggins. Obviously, they traded D'Lo, so it's pretty much just his team as of right now. And I could read you these numbers, but they're not going to be an accurate reflection of Golden State because he's only played, 2 games there so far. But on the year, 1.08 points per minute, 27.9% usage rate. Again, I can't even bring up his numbers yet for Golden State because it's such a small sample size, and you really can't use these numbers because it's a different team. So, not really sure why I'm wasting your time reading these numbers anyway, but I am, so I'm sorry. But Andrew Wiggins, he's fine versus Phoenix. John Moran, he's coming off of his first triple-double, I believe. I mean, he went absolutely off. I think he had 63 fantasy points. Went absolutely nuts. It was a good matchup. I forget exactly who it was against, but he went off. It might have been New Orleans. I don't remember. It might have been New Orleans. I should probably remember, but I don't. But he went off. They raised his price tag a lot. I think he was 6,300. He was in that low 6K range and raised his price tag deservedly so. It's a really good matchup here versus Portland. They rank 26 versus point guards. So I like the spot here. He's been pretty good on a point per minute basis this season. Now 1.14 points per minute with a 26% usage rate. You can certainly play John Morant. This is going to be the best game on the slate. 235 total, 4.5 point spread. I do like John Morant. Jonas Valanciunas, he's more of a GBP play though, not for cash games. And speaking of GBP plays, Jonas Valanciunas, man, he's always a GBP play. Never really a cash game guy for me until that one time he was like 6,300 and everyone was out, like Jaren Jackson, Brandon Clark, all those guys were out. Besides that, he's a GBP play only for me. His minutes are always a bit sporadic. You can play anywhere from like 25 to 30 minutes, just depending on how he's playing. But again, love this game environment here. Portland is terrible down low. They rank 25th versus center, so definitely like the spot for him. But a lead on a point per minute basis, given his price tag, 1.28 points per minute. As you can see, he's only averaging 26 minutes per game, though, which is the problem. But if he's playing well, he should see the minutes here, and I think he definitely excel here versus Portland. Love the game environment, definitely want pieces in this game. So going down the list here, you're going to see CJ McCollum, and if you look in the game log, it's going to look like a pretty rough game last time out versus New Orleans. But again, he did not get full complement of minutes, and if you're not going to get your full minutes, you're not going to pay off your price tag. And I think he was on his way to about 35-ish points, if not more. He was playing pretty decent. And again, like I said, though, didn't get full minutes, so that might deter people away if you're just looking straight at game logs. I will not shy away here. I think this is a pretty good play at 6,800. Love the spot here versus Memphis. If you head over to the DVP chart, Memphis does rank 26 versus point guard, so this is right up CJ McCollum's wheelhouse. And I just like playing the guy. You know, when he's below 7K, he feels like a nice, safe, comfortable play. I know sometimes it doesn't work out, but I feel comfortable playing CJ McCollum when he's below 7K. He's going to play all the minutes he can handle. On the year, he's at 0.98 points per minute, basically a point per minute guy, 25.7% usage rate. I think he's a safe play in a good matchup versus Memphis. Nice pace, not much of a pace-up spot, but nice fast-paced game, I should say. Jaren Jackson going to the same game. Again, he's more of a GPP guy. All these Memphis guys are really GPP guys. They never play huge minutes, and Some of them have issues. Like Jaren Jackson's kind of a fouler. He is. He loves to foul guys. So he's always, it's rare when he doesn't end the first quarter with 2 fouls. It always makes you a little bit nervous that he's going to pick up that third randomly, but usually it doesn't happen, but sometimes it does. But even if it does, you're going to be sitting on the bench for a while. He's going to pull a Christian Wood a couple of nights ago. But yeah, I still like Jaren Jackson here. He's pretty good on a point per minute basis, as most of these Memphis Grizzlies are. I mean, they're all kind of the same. It seems like at least Jonas Valanciunas, John Morant, and Jaren Jackson. But on the year, he's at 1.09 points per minute, 24.3% usage rate, only averaging 28 minutes per game. This is how the Memphis guys work. So, yeah, you can look Jaren Jackson's way, like the pace of this game. Portland does rank 27 versus power forwards. He should see a lot of mellow defense, which is always something I will invite. So, don't mind Jaren Jackson. Serge Ibaka, so he got ruled out last game with an illness. We're not sure if he's going to end up playing or not. As of right now, he's listed as questionable. But if he plays 6,300 versus Brooklyn, sign me up. Sign me up. It's only a 2.5 point spread, and I was the last game versus Minnesota. I was all about playing Serge Ibaka, and I actually played him last time he played Brooklyn. Ended up starting the game really well, but he ended up finishing very, very poorly. But Ibaka, he should be able to pay off this 6,300 price tag fairly easily. And on the season, 1.12 points per minute, 24.3% usage rate. Take a guy like Gasol off the court, that only goes up a little bit. So you can certainly look Ibaka's way. And Brooklyn, they struggle down low pretty bad. They rank 27 versus centers. So I do like Serge Ibaka quite a bit on this slate. We could also look Colin Sexton's way. He comes in at 6,200, and if Kevin Love's off the court, that's definitely going to give him a boost. Now, I know Andre Drummond's in town, which is going to hurt him a little bit, but if you take Love off it, I still like it, and this price tag's fair at 6,200. Before the last game, he was playing very, very well for a while now. And Colin Sexton, he's got upside. He's going to shoot the ball a ton. Doesn't do a whole lot of passing, but guy can definitely score. It's a good matchup versus Atlanta. If we ever to the DVP chart, they rank 20th versus point guards, 28th versus shooting guards. So you got to love the spot for Colin Sexton. And it's a nice pace-up spot for the Caps, too. They're 26th in pace of play, while Atlanta is 5th. On the years, numbers have been creeping up. That was a lot lower. I shouldn't say a lot, but a decent amount lower. But now he's all the way up to 0.91 points per minute, 26.9% usage rate. Colin Sexton, he's fine as a mid-range play. Would I rather play Ibaka? Yes. Yes, I would. Going down, we have Carmelo Anthony at 5,500. He had an okay game. Again, starters got pulled in this game, so we're not going to get an accurate reflection of how they actually would have ended up playing. But in Melo's limited run, he did get 21.5 fantasy points, if I remember correctly. So he did okay. If you stretch that to a whole fourth quarter, he's probably getting close to 30. So you would have been happy with that at 4,900. They raised this price tag a little bit to 5,500, but still got to love the matchup here versus Memphis. Just so bad defensively. They rank 20th versus power forwards, 26th versus small forwards. So do like the spot quite a bit for Mr. Melo. And on the year, he's about 0.87 points per minute, 21.8% usage rate. Just getting exposure to this game, I think he's totally fine. Dylan Brooks, always like him in these fast-paced, bad defensive games, and that's going to qualify here. Now, I believe it was last game. He absolutely failed as chalk, but I like him to bounce back here, 5,500. Like I said, decently fast-paced game, good matchup all around. On the year, 0.92 points per minute, 24.4% usage rate. He's a solid play. I mean, if you're just stacking this game up, you can throw Dylan Brooks on. Portland, they do rank 14th versus shooting guards, so I think Dylan Brooks is a pretty solid play. Let's see. Going down the list, Larry Nance, so only if Kevin Love misses. Only if Kevin Love misses, and it still kind of sucks because Andre Drummond's here. So I put him on here just to talk about him. 5,100. It's a great matchup versus Atlanta. I'd get close to 25 minutes if Kevin Love happens to miss. And on the year, 0.95 points per minute. That goes to about a point per minute with Love off the court. So you can certainly look Larry Nance's way just depending on the Kevin Love news. All right, going down to Victor Oladipo. He was major chalk the other night because he was only 4,200. He raised his price a little bit to 4,800, but if you take Giannis off the court, Milwaukee will struggle a little bit more versus just more defensively overall. So it's going to open up a little bit more room for scorers like Victor Oladipo. And they recently raised his minutes limit to about 28, which also puts him in play. Also like the pace-up spot for the Pacers here. They're 24th in pace-up play, but Milwaukee is first. So always like getting guys in pace-up spots, and it's about as big as you can ask for almost. And on the year, Milwaukee, they do rank 15th versus point guards, 5th versus shooting guards. So not an elite matchup or anything, but it just softens up a little bit without Giannis on the court. Just everyone gets a little bit of a boost. So I think you can look Oladipo's way now. He has not been that great this season. If you look at his numbers, they're pretty poor. 0.78 points per minute, only a 6 PER. 27.9% usage rate's pretty good, but he's not been playing well. If you look at his offensive box plus minus, negative 4.7, negative 3.8 in the defensive box plus minus, sorry. And if you look at his offensive rating is 83. That's terrible. That's below Dwayne Dedmon. I mean, that's by far the worst. So, yeah, not too hot for Oladipo so far. He's not shooting the ball that great, but 4,800, not too bad. I like the spot here versus Milwaukee because it's a pace-up spot, and Giannis is going to be off the court. Should help the game stay closer as well. As you can see, it's only a 1.5 point spread. So, Oladipo, he's fine. Ersan Ilyasova, the guy never fails when he's chalk with Giannis missing. Obviously, they raised his price up, so I can't really say he's going to be an absolute chalk. But the guy just never has a bad game when Giannis is off. It just doesn't happen. Same with Middleton and Bledsoe. I don't think I've ever seen it happen, to be honest. But Ersan, so I wasn't going to put him here just because I hate the spot versus Indy, and he's 4,800. But then I got to thinking, last time Giannis missed, I believe it was like 2 games in a row, Ersan was close to 5K, and he was playing Orlando, and I was like, I can probably get away with fading Ersan versus Orlando. No, the guy dropped nearly 50 fantasy points, so you don't have to lock him in, but the guy's definitely got upside with Giannis at the core. He's got over a point per minute. I believe it's 1.18 points per minute. That's not too bad at 4,800 for a guy that's going to see about 25 minutes, so consider luck Ersan's way. Dwayne Dedmon, Clint Capella is not expected to be playing yet, so you should get close to 30 minutes. And the guy's been having some pretty solid games recently, and that should not change here versus Cleveland. Gets to go up against that Andre Drummond defense, which is really not much of defense at all. Guy's pretty lazy on that side of the court, but if we look at Detroit's numbers, I think it's more of an accurate representation. They rank 24th versus centers. And if you look at Cleveland, they rank 20th. So if you mesh that together, we'll call it 22nd versus centers. So this is a pretty good spot for Dwayne Dedmon, and he's been pretty solid point per minute wise. If you just look overall in the season, obviously a few things have changed for Dwayne Dedmon for sure. But on the season, he's at 0.88 points per minute. He's been kind of playing like a point per minute guy, and 18% usage rate, so you can certainly look his way. He's going to get close to 30 minutes. Great spot versus Cleveland. Pace down spot, but should be a pretty good game environment here. 233 total. Kevin Porter, I actually ended up playing him recently, and he actually had a pretty good game. He's been playing pretty well. 4,300. It's not too bad. You know, he's going to come off the bench, and I don't mind it. It's a good spot versus Atlanta, worst defensive team in the league versus shooting guards and guards. They rank 20th for shooting guards, 30th versus small forwards. So you really can't ask for too much of a better matchup for Kevin Porter. And if you look at his numbers on the season, 0.81 points per minute, not too bad, 20% usage rate. Again, not great, but he's only 4,300, so I think he's fine. Juan Hernan Gomez, whatever you want to call him. He comes in at 3,900. Great matchup versus Charlotte. He's been playing pretty well recently, a couple of 20-point games in a row. On the year, the numbers suck, but again, he's on a new team now, so you kind of have to throw these numbers out the door. But I think he can get you about 20 fantasy points, if not more, at a fair price tag at 3,900. And like I said, Charlotte, they're so bad down low. 26 versus power forwards, 29th versus centers. So you can certainly look his way. And then the last guy we're talking about, James Johnson. He's had a couple of good games in a row on the same team. Again, Minnesota got rid of a lot of, power forwards, centers, backup kind of guys. And obviously they got rid of Andrew Wiggins, so it just opens up some more minutes all around for these guys. And James Johnson's been playing well, 3,500, got him for close to 25 minutes here. Again, you can't really use these numbers because it's a whole new situation, but on the season, 0.88 points per minute. So I think he's fine at this price tag. 3,500 is grading out as a pretty decent play. And again, Charlotte, they're so bad down low. Pretty much any big guy can have a good game versus Charlotte. So that's pretty much going to be it for the player-by-player rundown. Before we get out of here, we still have to talk about overlaydfs.com. Alright, so you've been watching my videos for some time. You already know what overlaydfs.com is, but if you're new to the channel, you don't, so I'm going to tell you right now. It's a very new, fun, casual DFS website. I would not recommend this to you guys if I didn't play there myself. I really do enjoy playing over there. It's fun to sweat the games out, and you're always in it until the last game. As you can see tonight, I went 9-3 in my picks, which it was a very tough night. I mean, a lot of guys did very, very well. A lot of guys that went 10-2, a lot of guys went 9-3. Unfortunately, I did not make it into the money going 9-3, but there's just some stiff competition tonight, but it's mostly just casual players. You're not going to find guys like Chipotle here, EM2, those kind of guys, his brother, Papa Gates. They're not going to be in these contests, so you don't have to worry about that. And also, there's no salary cap restrictions, so it's a very fun, casual website. I think you guys will enjoy it. And it's about as easy as it sounds when I'm about to explain it to you guys. It's a pick 'em based website. Whoever you think scores the most points, you pick. If you thought Bertans was going to outscore Hachimura, you pick Bertans. Obviously, that was not the right move by me. If you thought Thaddeus Young was going to outscore Satoransky, obviously, again, not the right move by me. Those were two of my mess-ups. But everything else did pretty well. If you thought Aldridge was going to outscore Schroeder, which I think was one of the Schroeder, which is one of the easiest picks on the slate, that's who you picked. It's as simple as that, guys. There's no salary caps. You just pick whoever you think's going to score the most fantasy points. And if you finish in the top 10% of your contest, you win 9 extra money. So, for example, this is the $22 double deuce contest. If you finished in the top 12 tonight, I just missed it, you won $180. It's as simple as that. And you guys do not want to miss out on this jackpot. It's getting pretty insanely high. When they first reached out to me to try out the website, it was around $4,000. We are almost at $11,000 if you go 12-0 on your picks. And a couple of guys have been close, like 10-2. That's just 2 different picks. If you go 12-0 on your picks, you're winning almost $11,000. So, someone's got to win it. Why not you? Do not miss out on this opportunity to try to win $11,000. It's just a $22 contest. So it's not like you're playing $1,000 to win $11,000. $22 contest. Even if you don't go 12-0 on your picks, you can still win $180 if you place in the top 10%. Also, they're running a slump buster challenge, which I think is pretty darn cool. I don't know any other website that happens to do this, but if you lose 20 days in a row, not consecutive days in a row, but say you play once a week for 20 weeks in a row, and you lose every single day, God forbid you lose every single day, they will refund every single dollar that you deposited. So they're basically daring you guys to lose. So check it out, guys. OverlayDFS.com. Very fun website to play on. Very simple to learn. If you need help on who to pick, you just use my projections. That's what I do, and I tend to do pretty well. I went 9-3, which you'd think I was easily up to cash. Unfortunately, not tonight. A lot of the popular picks ended up outscoring the other guys. So that's just how it goes sometimes. Not complaining, but I really do enjoy this site. It was fun sweating out the last game because I needed one more thing to go my way. If Robert Covington would have outscored Murray, could have gotten into the money, but unfortunately that didn't happen, but it was fun to sweat it out. So check it out, guys. OverlayDFS.com. That's going to be it for this video. Hope it was helpful. If it was, leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Really helps me out. Really appreciate it. Do not forget to comment below how many points Cat's scoring on this slate. If you don't, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really affect me too much. I guess it just affects you. But just less numbers for me to read. But yeah, follow me on Twitter at Pennell16. Support me over on Patreon. It's much appreciated. Getting close to, I forget what I was going to say. Yeah, either way, enjoy your Wednesday. I need to get some sleep, and I'll see you in the next video.